Hello everyone, and welcome to another Red Raptor Writes. Now, this isn't going to be a scripted video, I'm just talking off the cuff. So, no memes, no amazing analogies, none of that, it's just me and you talking about Star Wars, and it's gonna be a good time. So, Clone Wars Season 7 just finished, and a lot of people are loving the Siege of Mandalore arc and Order 66, and I do too. It was really awesome, and that ending was so bone-chilling. It was perfect. Now, I'm not going to do a straight-up review of Season 7, because, well, I don't feel like I have that much to add that you haven't heard from the conversation already. The Bad Batch was a really fun arc and really got me hyped. The Martez Sisters arc was just a total waste of time, except for maybe one or two short scenes where Ahsoka's reunited with Bo-Katan. But aside from that, it really could have been skipped or replaced with better episodes, like the arc on Utapau, or just something new. So we had one fun arc, it wasn't bad, but definitely kind of fillery, a waste of time. But then the Siege of Mandalore definitely saved the season. I was so ready to complain about how Disney just ruins all of Star Wars and steamrolls over everything I love, but thankfully that is not the case here. But there is one thing that not really a lot of people are talking about that has been bugging me about the series in general, but that's definitely come up more in Season 7, and that is Order 66 and how they accomplished that. Of course, in Season 6 with 5's arc, it's revealed that Order 66 will be done through mind control, that every clone trooper has a chip in their brain that starts once the order is given. And I feel like that's a kind of cheap way to get the clone troopers to do Order 66. Now, I've heard that Dave Filoni needed a good explanation for why the clones would turn on the Jedi that they've been with for the entire war, but I think this is a cop-out. It's just a cheap way to get them to kill the Jedi. Mind control is like a light switch. 1 second the clones are good, and then the next they're bad. You can have the suspense of Order 66 looming just on the horizon, just from the fact that we've all seen Episode 3 and know that it's coming. You don't need to have a whole chip in the brain mind control conspiracy to get this across. It's already suspenseful. See, what they should have done instead of mind control is showed the allegiance of the clone troopers to the Chancellor and how loyal they are to him as well. So then when it's the Chancellor saying that the Jedi are taking over and trying to overthrow the Republic, they're sworn to the Chancellor and the Republic, so it can make for such a heartbreaking moment when the clones have to choose the Chancellor over the Jedi. Of course, this is all Empire propaganda and stuff, but still, they would believe it if you see their loyalty to the Chancellor. So if that was established, you could have just done that. And it would have made for a really good debate. Do we kill the Jedi just because the Chancellor says so? Or is there another side to the story that they're not seeing? So then when they choose to kill Ahsoka, it's not that they're just mind controlled, they're actually actively choosing to kill Ahsoka, the leader they've been following for years during the war, and now they choose to kill her. That would be so much more heartbreaking than they're just mind controlled and trying to kill me. And no, it's their personal choice now. And that might be the big reason why I don't like the whole chip idea. It takes away the choice, the agency from the clones. Instead, now it's just all the Chancellor's fault. And yes, he was the schemer behind this, but now it's like the clones are completely innocent. They couldn't help that they were brainwashed. This is why hypnotism and mind control are so dangerous, because it takes away character agency. It could have been like the Darkness on Umbra story arc, where they have to debate whether they're just soldiers or they're individuals whose lives actually matter. It was such an interesting conflict that I'm so glad we got to see in the Clone Wars, because in the films, the clones were just fodder for the droids and their rockets. And they just died all over the place, didn't have much characterization. But here in the Clone Wars, we got to learn more about them as individuals, as people. They have different personalities, and like Yoda says in Episode 1, even though they're clones, they have the exact same DNA, they're very different in the Force. They are individuals, but bred for war. So which part of that takes precedent over the other? That would have been a great discussion to bring up here again, and it would have been so intense and dramatic. I haven't read anything about the Legends or the comics, but in Battlefront 2, well, the original Battlefront 2, it was my understanding that there was a faction of clone troopers that didn't turn on the Jedi in Order 66 and refused to serve under the Empire. You played as the Stormtroopers and you had to go to Kamino and then wipe these clones out. But I know that all Legends and the canon got scrapped when Disney got Star Wars, but still, that would have been such a good idea to explore, and a very interesting one, since now that the clones are characters, we can see them debate and discuss which side to join, who to betray, and it would have been so good. But no, we get chipped minds, and they go from loyal to the Jedi to killing them in a split second. Or maybe you could have even had the chip, but had it more as mental suggestion, that the clones had the urge to kill the Jedi, but some of them were able to hold it back if they cared hard enough, like Rex. It just reminds me of Doc Ock in Spider-Man 2, that he had mental suggestion from his arms, but was still able to take control of it when he really wanted to, and then sink his own creation. Now, I'm sorry, I just fangirl over Spider-Man 2 all the time, but I think that would have been a really good template here. They have a chip in their head, or maybe no chip at all, again, we can just have a good debate, but they have a chip in their head that's telling them to kill the Jedi, but they're holding it back. I mean, these clones, hey, they have Ahsoka painted on their masks, they value her, they're so loyal to her, but then when they're told to kill her, they just flip in an instant. I don't believe that, and it's cheap. And think about it, maybe some give in, maybe some resist, and the ones that resist, you still have that tension. Maybe there's a tension between Ahsoka and Rex, wondering if Rex will actually betray her while he's trying to fight it. That would have been such good drama, but again, it's like, he has the chip in him, he goes to kill her. He hesitates for a few seconds, and that was a good moment, but then he just goes into kill mode. That is, until Ahsoka's able to remove the chip, then he's just back to normal, and he's fine. There's no lingering tension there that there could have been if they had one of my two ideas. Now, I'm not trying to boast and say that I'm a brilliant writer or anything like that. I'm just saying that this could have been improved and handled a bit better. And this isn't me just trying to rag on this story arc. No, this is a common thing in the series. Like, they reach 99% capacity of awesomeness and then just leave that 1% right there. A great example would be the arc I just praised, the Krell arc or Darkness on Umbra. There's this really intense divide over whether or not the clone should follow Krell's instructions or mutiny. Krell's treating them like droids, just chucking them at the battle, not really valuing their lives and hoping the mission gets done anyways, even though they're dying. He didn't value them. So again, it had that great question of, were they just soldiers meant to be thrown into a war, or did they actually matter as individuals? But like the Order 66 light switch, it just turns out that Krell was a Dark Jedi all along, and he wanted to serve under Count Dooku. So it really just took away the moral dilemma and made it into a black and white. Again, that's what happens here. It takes away the moral dilemma. Do we serve the Chancellor? Do we serve the Republic? Were we bred for war, or are we individuals with actual choice? And then throws that out into mind control. So I feel like that's something the Clone Wars definitely could have improved upon, and they could have explored these ideas even further, taking it to Order 66, and it would have been amazing, but no, it just leaves it at that 99% awesomeness instead of going for that 100. I hope I don't sound too negative though. I really did like the Siege of Mandalore. It was an awesome arc and I loved nearly every second of it. And it definitely made up for the Martez Sisters arc, which again wasn't horrible, but just kind of a waste of time. It's just this one thing that kind of bugs me. It bugged me a little bit in Season 6 when they introduced this idea, but now that we see it in full swing and full effect, I just can't really get behind it. I don't feel the emotional weight as much as I would have, say, again, if it were more mental suggestion instead of mind control, or it was a debate over their loyalties. But maybe I shouldn't complain too much. I mean, it's definitely better than the sequel trilogy, it's better than The Mandalorian. This is probably the best Disney Star Wars we've got so far, so maybe I should just be content with what we got. I'm definitely not a hater on the Clone Wars, but I could have just went on and on about how great the Siege of Mandalore was and sound like every other reviewer, talk about the fun Bad Batch, talk about the mediocre Martez Sisters, talk about how great the Siege of Mandalore was, but I wanted to do something a bit different, and also forgive me if it comes out like rambling. These are just quick first impression thoughts after watching the finale. Again, totally unscripted, it's just me expressing my opinion. So guys, if you enjoyed this video, then please leave a like, subscribe, check out my friends at Plot Twist Entertainment, and I'll see you next time.